So on July 30th, we received the first official trailer for an upcoming animated film set within a city populated entirely by anthropomorphic animals where a small plucky character sets out to shatter species stereotypes by getting a job reserved for larger creatures. That, of course, being GOAT. What'd you think I was talking about? I'm not gonna lie, this movie didn't pique my interest at all when I first watched the trailer. It didn't look horrendous, but at the same time, I didn't care much for the cheesy dialogue or the generic humor or concept. My anthro-animal bias has limits, you know? However, the more the trailer sits with me, the more potential I see in this film. And not like, oh, this movie might be alright potential. I see the possibility for this to be Sony's next K-pop Demon Hunters. Yes, I am dead serious. You're watching the LionDog Show, and I'm discussing the GOAT trailer. Now, before I elaborate on that outrageous claim of mine, let's talk about the trailer itself. To kick it off with the positives, the animation looks very good with 3 exclamation points. We've long since been at the point where the quote-unquote Spider-Verse style is no longer all that innovative, but I will say that it at the very least allows the character designs to stand out much more from the rest of the anthropomorphic animal films as of late. The closest comparison in terms of designs would be Mutant Mayhem, but even then, these characters stand out as a lot cleaner compared to that film's style. Speaking of presentation, the setting of this film looks phenomenal. I love how it's a literal urban jungle. Unlike Zootopia, where it felt like the animals used nature merely as an inspiration for their architecture, this looks like animals simply built a city around a jungle. Moving on to the plot itself, I appreciate that this film looks to be a lot more subdued when compared to other anthro films. There's no spirit realm, no night howlers, no butt rock, just some furries playing Roarball. Speaking of, I'm intrigued by the fact that the sport is called Roarball and not simply basketball. Now, it could just be another example of animals giving their concepts punny names for the sake of a joke. It's called Speakball because humans have the capacity for verbal communication. But it could mean that the sport could have more over-the-top differences from basketball that take advantage of both animation and the animal's individual traits. It could lead to some entertaining matches. Now, so far, the movie actually sounds pretty good. Until you remember that movies are supposed to have this cute little thing called a plot. Now, this is only the first trailer, but this film feels like one we've seen numerous times. An underdog who can't make ends meet admires a legend in the field who encourages him to pursue his outrageous dreams, leading to him being thrusted into the big leagues where he must work to prove himself, discover that fame is a double-edged sword, and if you're very well behaved, learn to never meet your heroes. All of that has been done already in plenty of other films, which sure you could say about another animal movie, but the trailer for that still gave us a good feel for the characters, and so far, we only get a proper look at the titular GOAT. I can't even say he's all that unique, as Will looks to be your typical awkward protagonist who develops confidence in himself as the film progresses. The one potential positive is that during an interview, producer Stephen Curry mentioned how the film will highlight the team effort that goes into an athlete's success, which makes a lot of sense considering basketball is a team sport after all. So if Will isn't a compelling character, hopefully his teammates can pick up the slack. I could see a dynamic where Will still has a ton to learn from his teammates while his plucky shonen anime protagonist persistence inspires them to perform better. Is it cliche? Yes. Does it work? How many sports movies exist in the world? Also, yes, you heard me right a moment ago. Stephen Curry is a producer on this movie. Like that's Stephen Curry. I can't say I know much about him as the boundaries of my basketball knowledge can be found within the 2 Space Jam movies, but that proves to me that this won't just be any underdog sports story with a furry skin plastered onto it. It might look that way for the majority of the trailer, but then it ends with that sneaker scene. Outside of awakening something within the poor child who probably just wanted to see a goat dunk, it demonstrates that this might truly be a movie for basketball fans. Once again, don't know a lot about basketball, but I know that basketball culture and sneaker culture go hand in hand. So putting this in the trailer feels like a deliberate move as a way to tap into the basketball fandom and show what this film is. It's a Sony animation feature built around a popular niche with famous members of it lending their talents to deliver the niche's ultimate love letter.
Sounds awfully familiar.
It should, because Sony just did that with K-pop Demon Hunters. They made the film to be a love letter to K-pop and Korean culture, even getting the label of some of K-pop's biggest names to help with the music, and look how that turned out. Now, I would be a fool to assume that this film could ever reach the heights of K-pop unless the sounds of ball dribbling and sneakers streaking on hardwood floors go viral on Spotify, but it could still develop into a sleeper hit by capturing basketball fans right out of the gate, and depending on the film's quality, it could could translate into positive word of mouth. Sure, some people simply aren't sports fans, myself included, but I don't think that will be an issue. I brushed upon it briefly in my previous video about the YouTuber Max, but there is something contagious about someone passionately discussing a topic you have zero pre-established interest where you can't help but find it compelling, and that effect can be found in a ton of movies. I know nothing about the culinary arts, yet Ratatouille is easily in my top 10 favorite movies. I can't tell you the last time I cared about racing or car making, but I loved 4v Ferrari. Heck, I can count the number of K-pop songs I've heard on a single hand. Yet K-pop Demon Hunters is one of my favorite films of the year. Why? It's because the filmmakers went above and beyond to capture the essence of the subject matter in a way that inside knowledge wasn't necessary to love it, and at the same time not sacrificing what people love about the subject. It ultimately comes down to the filmmakers to deliver an entertaining movie, which they likely will considering Sony's batting average as of late. Except for maybe the Garfield movie, but that wasn't even made by Sony, they simply produced it. Also, that movie isn't even that bad. I don't get the hate. So, those are my thoughts on the GOAT trailer. Obviously, I didn't have a ton to say on the trailer, as it isn't a sequel or tied to a pre-existing franchise, but I still felt like covering it. It's nice to see a fully original animal IP for a change. I'm still not over the moon for this film's release as I am for other films releasing next year, but I'll definitely check it out. I might even give it a full review. You'll just have to wait and see. Sorry if this video is way shorter than usual, college is a pain. You've been watching The LionDog Show. Have a great day, and stick around for more.